welcome back. We should be live. Now, I just want to deal with this real quick, get out the way, because I'm already behind as far as content that need to be created. But this always gets under my skin because I believe, once again, Tariq is about to be a proxy. Basically, all the criticisms that's currently being waged at Tariq, I view as black male criticism. Criticism he wouldn't have to deal with if he wasn't a black male. My personal belief. Now, if you don't already know, he's going back onto Vlad TV. Allegedly. He is allegedly supposed to be having another interview with Vlad. So, people have a lot to say, and a lot of people have something to say. Of course, you can imagine, oh, he's so off code. We'll go over those comments. But first, straight out the gate, I think we need to deal with why he said he stopped going on to Vlad. I think this is the most relevant, right? Where he's being asked directly why he's not, and he's telling us directly. Let's first hear what the accused has to say. Again, I view this as, and let me say, first of all, no, at least my opinion from this seat, is ridiculous to even wage a little criticism at it. I don't see it being worthy of any criticism at all, but let's listen to what he had to say.
TV before.
I did laugh.
Any problems or any hesitation when you did that platform? And
I did Vlad a couple of years ago.
Right.
It was cool. Everything was cool, but me and Vlad are not cool now.
Okay.
Because what Vlad did, right after I did his broadcast, he brought somebody else on that I had a problem with.
Got you.
And I think he brought the person on to kind of egg on the beef.
Heighten the moment.
Views. You dig? That's the only reason I thought he brought this person on.
Right.
So I went up there and confronted the person.
Wow.
Yeah, it's on there. You'll find it.
Right. I think I've heard it. I've heard of this. Was it more so his the practice of he didn't call you? Because I understand that game.
Right, but just the thing. I mean, this guy at the time, me and the person, the guy was threatening me, like, I'm gonna kill Tariq when I see him, and it was that type of stuff.
Gotcha.
So I'm like, and so Vlad invites the guy up, and the guy's bragging about he's going to Vlad. So I'm like, well, damn it, I'm going up there too. So I wanted to, see.
You got your Diddy Steve Stout on.
Yeah. So I wanted to see if any killing was going on, and wasn't nothing going on, and that's what it was. It was cool, and then me and Vlad kind of, he took our interview down that we did, and
okay.
Vlad has kind of been taking little shots here and there. So it is what it is.
Like, how do we process this? Being someone that yourself understands the power of media. Mm-hmm. I think he has a necessary platform. He's getting certain stories out there, but I also see the counterproductiveness because we don't own that platform.
Right. And the thing is, the problem that I and many other people have with Vlad is that because he's not from the culture, he's somebody who capitalizes off the culture. And part of the nuances of our culture is to protect those within the culture instinctively. When Vlad has people on his broadcast, he asks them questions that he knows will get them twisted up.
Yeah.
Don't make somebody comfortable knowing that you're about to ask them something that will come and bite them in the ass later on.
Right.
I had Nipsey, but rest in peace to my good brother Nipsey. I had him on my broadcast. I know a lot of stuff about Nipsey's activities. I wouldn't dare ask in public. I wouldn't put my brother in a situation that would come back and harm him. I had other street dudes.
So basically, he does not like the questions that Vlad asks his guests. Vlad is an instigator. We all know the deal with Vlad. So there's no confusion there, I don't think. Now, enlighten me. I don't see the issue with going back onto that platform. He said everything that he's thought about Vlad to Vlad already. Like, don't you think, let's first hear what he has to say on the show. What if he sits in front of Vlad and calls him a culture vulture right there to his face? It's not like he's inviting Vlad to work together on a music program or project. They're not working on an album. Tariq called Vlad a culture vulture. Okay? But what is he talking about specifically? He's saying that Vlad uses black culture, the music we created, and gets the artists on his show and talks to them. It doesn't. We'll get to the content of the questions that he asks, but he's using them for publicity. Vlad is using them for publicity. But look at the artists. Look at the music. It's not always that positive, is it? Vlad gets them on there and start asking them about street beefs that have nothing to do with music. If I got any of these guys on for an interview, I don't care if I interviewed a million rappers, I'm going to only have questions pertaining to their music. And because that's something they're going to be excited to talk about. And that's the craft. He be getting up on there, asking them about past activities, as if he's trying to get them caught up. He's an instigator. So if on Vlad TV, you get the same interview after another, guy talking about the work he put in, and degeneracy basically, why wouldn't you want to be on that platform? That seems to me like the type of platform a guy like Tariq should be on. Maybe I'm missing something. Tariq tries to reach the young grassroots the black people in the projects. So if project people are the primary viewers of Vlad TV, why wouldn't you want to deal with that audience? There are many people who watch Vlad who don't listen to Tariq. I think it's insane. Let's let him finish.
On my broadcast before, I know what not to ask them. I'm not going to even though they're comfortable with me, I'm not going to put them in a position to say something unknowingly that will come back and bite them in the back.
Yeah.
You see, Vlad kind of does that stuff, and there's a lot of indictments that have popped up based on Vlad interviews.
Yeah.
That's not cool.
Yeah. I definitely can, put a small...
Okay, we've all talked about this. Excuse me. We know how Vlad operates. So, for example, I would go on to Vlad's show confident that he ain't gonna ask me nothing that's gonna trip me up. I know what to answer and what not to answer, what to reply to, and if I do give a response, I know how to respond. He's not gonna run those magic tricks on me. I mean, what he gonna ask me? So how many people did you shoot before you became a YouTuber? Vlad is going to know better than to ask some foolish questions like that. If you ask me, Vlad has already taken an interview down. I believe the energy is going to be, okay, let's just make it on a straight and narrow. And maybe they get on and talk about Vlad being a culture vulture. That's one of the things Tariq has said, right? That they could touch on. I don't see the issue. I really don't. What I see here, I'll be honest with you. What I see here is the female energy being dominant among Black Americans. That's what I see. Because we've been under a matriarch for so long. Female energy dominates. Now, this is a video that also surfaced recently. I Y'all know this, some of you may know him. He's not a popular YouTuber, but he uploaded it yesterday. It's got a little over 2,000 views, but it's got 232 comments that I wanted to briefly touch on. I view this as nothing but anti-black male energy. And if he was not a black male, these accusations wouldn't be flying around out here. There would be no talk about canceling him. I'm just being honest. I'm not a hater of Tariq. He's just he don't even really seem like one of those Hollywood celebrities to me. He seemed more like a local guy that's well known. Okay, look at this. Like, for example, Tariq follows money. This guy says Tariq follows money. He's a grifter. Doesn't everybody follow money? But if you're a black man, you see, the standards change for you. And I'm telling you, sometimes even us black men do this. We got to snap out of this anti-black male energy. I'm telling you, it dominates American culture. Good on this guy. He said nothing wrong with using Vlad's platform. And it's all about reaching a different audience. If you know the audience that you're reaching is in the hoods, where some of them hood dudes ain't trying to hear Tariq, and maybe even never heard of him, never heard him before. It is insane. Let me tell you something. If Vlad invited him, it would be insane for Tariq to say no. You got a hold of a vital segment of our people. Young black kids, 5, 6, 7, 8, listening to Vlad because their favorite rappers on there. Why wouldn't you be insane? So no, I'm not trying, I ain't feeling that. It just don't make sense. I'm all about being fair. Right? Well, scratch that, realistic. And y'all crying all over the place, okay. Channel for tethers. And I agree with it. He can do what he wants. He is not a leader. Tariq is not a leader. And part of this comes from our tendency to project certain people as leaders. And that they can't make mistakes. We gotta stop that. And this is not even a mistake. We gotta stop that, man. That is detrimental. Now look at this one. I want y'all to take a good look at this guy right here. And I'm not trying to bash the brothers. I'm not trying to bash you. I've also been touched by feminine energy. We all have. Look at this comment. He said, as a proud FBA man, I would be highly disappointed in Tariq if this is true. I salute Tariq for giving us a proper identity, but in doing so, he's awakened the sleeping giant in us. We will disown Tariq with the quickness if it turns out that he's a double agent. Now, this agent talk, he could be an agent. He could be working with law enforcement. And I'm talking about Tariq. It's possible. But, I mean, do I think? I personally don't think, but it's possible. Because he does have a history. Tariq has a history. But don't we all have a history? Especially if you come from the inner city. Wouldn't you rather see somebody who's turned their life around legitimately? This is what I don't get. How is he still projected as a con artist, grifter, and all this kind of stuff when everything he does is legal? It's legit. You can't knock someone for getting donations. They get their donations from that everybody has a following that's willing to support them financially. especially if it's for particular projects. And again, assuming that he's pocketing 50% of what people donate, 75%. Okay, because I know that's ultimately what a lot of people thinking. He collecting all them donations, and then he just keep it and spend a tiny bit on the project. Do other producers, are they subjected to that same criticism? Do other movie makers, are they subjected to that same criticism? By the very people who watch and follow them, you never see that. And these other producers and creators and artists have GoFundMes all the time as well. Everything he does is criminalized. Tariq's life is really like a project. You can do a study on it. He was out there in the streets. He was on the wrong path. He may have been involved in something that's very, very unfortunate. But are you saying that he hasn't tried to turn his life around? He's not perfect. He gets too ghetto for me and sometimes, and too ratchet for me. But he has a gift, man, especially when it comes to history and, like on the political side. Influential, he's willing to speak on behalf and put a spotlight on certain figures that a lot of us thought would never get a national spotlight. John Henrik Clark, Dr. Amos Wilson, who played a huge role in my, awakening or gaining of knowledge as far as psychology, because I've always been into psychology. And I think that's the most important thing you need to focus on when you're talking about Black Americans or any people. You need to study how they think, because that's ultimately what drive. That's your engine. Nobody mentioning Dr. Amos Wilson. He hasn't acknowledged several authors that us on the grassroots have held in high esteem for a long time. It's just not something that I would think an agent would do, but it's very well possible. It's very well possible. However, let's say it's true. Let's say he's some type of agent and he's helping to cause divisions between Black Americans and Blacks in the diaspora. That's the biggest criticism. The museum is still there. People who had never heard of many of these scholars have still heard of them now after the museum and him talking about them. The beneficial work is still done, regardless if you think he's an agent. And to me, this is just drama. We are full of too much drama. That's that female energy. Drama, gotta fight, always gotta look for something to criticize and nitpick, flipping out over petty stuff that just don't matter. And in this case, y'all actually criticizing a smart move. Vlad highlights degeneracy. Our people who worship degeneracy flock to the people on his show. It's smart to accept an invitation. What are y'all thinking? We gotta do better. This is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And it just shows me that if you're a Black man and you run into some issues, even if you turn your life around, they're going to rub it in your face constantly and going to project every move you make as you cutting corners and somehow being a criminal. An immigrant. I heard an immigrant say that. Say the exact same thing. Look at this comment right here. He said, to discount Caribbean contribution to hip hop, especially in New York, an immigrant city, is crazy. Now, he didn't discount their contribution. The discussion was never about who contributed. So we may as well stop reading right there. That was never the discussion. Several artists and genres have contributed to hip hop, down to opera. What are you talking about? See, this is why I don't like people who just, I don't know what it is. It's just they have a hard time focusing on the subject or being aware of the subject. He said, okay. He said, I could have swore Tariq, look at this one. And this guy got Tariq's flag. He said, I could have swore Tariq said Vlad and team reached out to him. He didn't beg to go on Vlad. And he used his time on Vlad to hash out any differences they had. Not just that. What do you have to ask? What does Vlad have to ask? The movie? He can only ask about current events. The rally? The movie? What is Vlad gonna ask a trick question? In what way could this be cooning is my question. How could this be off code? And I don't understand that part. Make me understand. Because the things I've read, like these comments, it don't fly. Look at this one. Talking about hypocrites. DJ Vlad claiming he's Jewish, but he's atheist. That makes sense again. But people don't look at that. Only black men fall under certain type of criticisms. That's just the way it is. And it's such a part of American culture that even black people, we get caught up. We do it sometimes, not even being aware of it. We'll say things and assume things about a black man that we wouldn't assume about other people. Right? That's how we unknowingly support our own demise. Look at this. Tariq is a hustler and entertainer. Hustler? What? What? I don't understand the hustler. That's another one. How? In what way? By trying to convince you to buy something? That's what salesmen do. That happens every day, all day. Everybody's involved. But see, when a black man is doing it, see, you're hustling. The standards always change. The more successful you are as well, the more you're accused of being some type of criminal hustler. And an entertainer. Notice how they mention entertainer as if that's something illegal. He said, so he's about his coins. He did, okay, or maybe not. I won't. I'll retract that. Maybe that was a harmless statement right there. He said he did backtrack with this whole Vlad. How? By calling him a culture vulture, then going on the show? I don't see how that excludes him from going on the show. That should make the interview more likely. Like, hey, chump, you a culture vulture. Okay, come on the show. Let's talk about it. It's not like they're going in private and talking, having some kind of discussion. Make it make sense, people. This whole idea that, oh, you shouldn't even talk to him. I believe that's feminine energy. Y'all shouldn't even talk. I ain't got nothing to say to you. You know how women get. I ain't got nothing to say to you. It's like, relax. He's going on the show. Let's hear what they talk about first. Can we? And isn't that all what matters? All that matters is what they're talking about. We ain't even heard it. And you got these people coming out the closets. Okay. He replied to that one. Oh, he said microphone check is a lie, Lord. This guy actually, he's been on the YouTube for a long time. This Javen Bullets, he's been on for a while. He said, Tariq's motive does appear to be grifting and hate. He mixes true history with false history to do this. Oh, Lord, people, it's too much hate, man. The haterism. And see, back in the day, we used to look at that as a Buster character. And we was real careful not to hate on nobody. The disagreement I had with Tariq, that was harmless. It's like, hey, he supports, black women wearing weaves. I don't. I mean, he is well respected in the community, and it is problematic, and it might come back to bite him in the butt. Because that video is still up. But that's on him. And I believe black people in general know better anyway. I don't think he's really going to influence. Black women themselves, they know that we're telling the truth. And that they don't need weave. That's just crazy. But that's harmless. A little harmless disagreement, man. These people be jumping out the window. And what's the thing? Why would he be trying to get back at Lord Jamar? This host, the channel host, said Tariq is doing an interview with Vlad to get back at Lord Jamar. I guess Lord Jamar and Vlad had a little falling out. But what? That ain't got nothing to do with Tariq. Yeah, Lord Jamar is verbally supporting Tariq's, the same thing that Tariq is saying. But that's not being jocking Tariq. That's just agreeing with the truth. And that's another thing I hate. Lord, people think just because you agree with somebody, you worship them. No, that's just you who can't think for yourself and go around worshiping people. He said, no, I don't agree with Tariq going on Vlad's platform. Okay, why? He said that still doesn't negate the fact that FBA is a real lineage. Okay, I don't get it. That's all I'm saying. I don't get it. I haven't seen one person give a valid reason why it's off code for him to go on Vlad's TV show. Stuff like this, believe it or not, drives me nuts. It really does, to see so many people miss the point. Man, no, don't question the Holocaust. Okay. Well, okay, here's another one. Tariq did the same thing with DJ Academics. He talked now let's criticize Tariq right now. I'm about to criticize Tariq right now. I've already criticized him. I said I don't like his support of hair weaves. I said I don't like his support of hair weaves. I also dislike, another thing I don't dislike, that I don't like about Tariq stance, his position, is his reluctancy, and maybe he has. If he has, please refer me to the video. His reluctancy to speak against drill rap. That is the most destructive and demonic, hateful and evil music genre ever. They're glorifying real life murders in their kids. I don't like when he projects the violence in Chicago as manufactured, when those very gangs are all over the internet, the killers themselves bragging about real killings that you can find in the news. It's not a hoax. That girl that King Von is allegedly killed, she was like 14 and had multiple bodies. These young kids, black kids, are killing people and getting killed themselves. I totally disagree with the silence on drill rap and Chicago in general. That has to be dealt with, man. It's unbelievable, if you ask me, the degree how they devalue life and just don't care if they live or die. Dude, that's the worst thing to happen to Black America. That's the worst thing to happen to Black America. to have 13, 14, 15-year-old boys out here killing each other for fun, for clout, just so they could brag on YouTube and get attention. Hopefully he addresses that at some point. And I'm telling you now, I really hope he does. Because I don't think you can be any type of... I'll land it there. I don't agree. I think it's silly. It's really brainless stuff. It's the type of thing where if I was in control, I'd shut it down before it even starts. Shut up. Let's see what the interview is all about. Give us your thoughts. What do you think? Do you think this is off code or some type of violation? I don't know. Accountability forever. Okay, this guy with some tether name said, "You're showing feminine energy right now. Accountability is for everyone. Being a black man doesn't make you exempt." Why don't you make sense? Accountability for what? Make sense. I'm giving you a chance right now. What does he need to be held accountable for? I just held him accountable for not criticizing drill rap and for telling black women they need weave. And I'm dead serious about that. What are you talking about? No, here on History Student Channel, you got to make sense. You got to make sense. Be clear. Don't speak in parables. Don't start, reading no poem. Let's hear it. What does he need to be held accountable for? I told you, man, this is nothing but black male hate. That's all I see. Unless you can make sense out of it. How is he in violation by going on the Vlad show? Yeah, he called him a culture vulture. What if he sits in front of Vlad and said, "Vlad, I still say you're a culture vulture. You thrive off our culture. You make money off our culture. You get views using our culture." Tariq himself at that moment won't be supporting Vlad eating off our culture because he's speaking against it on the platform where it's being done. So that nullifies, if he does that, again, in other words, you can't accuse nobody of being held accountable for nothing because ain't even nothing happened yet. You don't think what they talk about, what they actually discuss matters? Does it matter or not? Now, okay, makes sense. You still ain't said nothing, so I suppose you figured out you don't know what you're talking about. It was on code for him to confront. Yeah, on code for him to confront Vlad. Even if it's your enemy. Look, other people do it all the time. People will have disagreements, go on each other's platform all the time. I don't know if y'all remember or not, Elijah Muhammad had a meeting with the Klan. I think it was maybe even Farrakhan had a subsequent meeting with the Klan. Why? Because they agreed on something. They both wanted separation and felt separation was the best thing for both groups. So when you sit down and talk to them, what do you talk about? Hey, you talk to your people, tell them this is what you want and why, and we're going to talk to those same people, tell them what I want. But thoughtless people on the outside, oh, what a violation, or how dare you talk to the Klan? Shut up. I believe that's that feminine energy right there. If you failing to be practical, it's feminine energy. If you can't explain your position clearly, you're riding on emotions. That's why you're using vague terminology like accountability and all this. Yeah, shut up. Sounding like your mama. He didn't support black women wearing hair weaves. No, he did. Yeah, he did. He said some of them need it. He's like, some of you need it because you got alopecia. I remember what he said word for word. Now, look, I I don't agree with nobody. Even Amos Wilson says some things I disagree with. I don't agree with Dr. Amos Wilson's, he used to support Pan-Africanism. And there was several other things. But I don't, I don't refuse to support somebody because I have a disagreement with them. I'm not going, you know what I'm saying? That's just, that's when you start getting feminine. That's when the femininity comes out. Black women don't need nothing, just like other races don't need nothing. They don't need other people's hair, just like other people don't need black women's hair. That's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And if you ask me, if you were to press Tariq on it, he would admit that. He would admit to that. He would admit to that. And who knows? Maybe one day he'll go back on that subject. But to say that black women need to put other women's hair on their head is such a ridiculous statement. It's hard for me to even believe he was being serious when he said that. If you go back and listen to that video, I said that in the video. I said that and I meant that. I don't say nothing that I don't mean. In that video, I said I don't even think he's being serious. Think about it. Are we really supposed to believe that Tariq is not aware that as long as you take care of your scalp, you're going to have a good, healthy, full head of hair? He knows that. He knows full well they don't need other people's hair. But I just think Tariq is one of those black men who've grown up seeing black women with the straight hair, the weaves, for so long, it's conditioned us. Myself included. The way their culture has conditioned us. But I think the internet, like I said, dispelled that. Because you can find plenty of black women who look just as fly as all get up, with a straight up and down natural hairstyle. And that's the thing with me. I don't expect nobody to be flawless. If more people thought like that, our institutions wouldn't crumble. People get too emotional. And that's killed so many of our efforts. Man, I'm telling you. Other people's politicians and leaders have all kinds of dirt on them. Those white people admire their leaders, their ancestors. That's the thing that separate black people from that's what give white people the edge. They truly draw power from their admiration of their current leaders and their ancestors. You can't really say the same thing about black Americans. Now, those of us on code, we think like that. Real big problem. I'm going to criticize here. Yeah, and it's exactly. It's, see, for Tariq to come out and criticize hair weaves, I got to be honest, that would be a bad move for him. I would advise him against that. A huge, and the material that he creates, he wants all black women to utilize for their kids. They're not going to do it if he's criticizing them wearing weave. That's something that he can't do. The people who can do that are people who start off doing it straight out the gate, like me. Straight out the gate from the beginning. When I showed up on YouTube, that SBW channel is still up. And everybody know that's my channel. But yeah, I don't support that. Supporting it, but the inferiority complex is too intense in Black America, and I think that's pretty much the only thing this holding us back. But marinate on that. I believe somebody else mentioned that too, about how white people, they admire their ancestors. Little quiet as kept, they admire the fact that their ancestors carried out slavery. Deep in their heart, they're like, yeah, it was bad. Yeah, it was immoral. Yeah, it was all that. But I'm glad my ancestors did it, because that enabled me to live in this country today. Yes, that's what they put their leaders on dollar bills and coins. When you even mention the names of their ancestral leaders, you better be respectful. You better put some respect on that. And the further back in time, this is really what something Black Americans need to admire and take from white people. The further back in time you go, it seemed the more white people admire their ancestors and hold them in high esteem. They admired the ancient Greeks. Boy, you better not say nothing bad about the ancient Greeks. When you talk about Black Americans, it's too many Black Americans who don't even want to think about their ancestors. And I'm just talking about their ancestors here in America. They're ashamed of it. It caused too much anxiety in them. They feel like it's embarrassing to them. Bring a lot of anxiety. They don't even want to think about it. That is what kills Black Americans ultimately. And that'll kill any group of people. Most people got a lot of admiration for their direct ancestry. And it's a genuine admiration and appreciation for it. The absence of that in Black America, that's what kills Black America. And, you got to point it out. Fellas, we got to do with men. We can't be worrying about people's feelings. That is far more prevalent in our women. They're far more detached on average from their ancestors. It's hard to get them to be very or genuinely proud of their history and admire their history. So I'm just saying, we need to change our way of thinking. Our way of thinking is real messed up. Like I said, I was pretty much groomed into the game by Dr. Amos Wilson. Look him up. He got several lectures here online. He was a psychologist. He was a real university psychologist. He was taught as a university professor for years. Focused on psychology, so that's pretty much what I focus on here on the History Student channel. Right, Farrakhan goes face to face. These silly criticisms, I'm telling you, drives me crazy, and it's all because it's a Black man doing it. Black man was too demonized. I'm going to war against that. That anti-Black male anything. It's on. Yeah. And the thing with our women is primarily for their self-esteem. They have to feel naturally beautiful for them to be normal women. You know what I'm saying? Mothers. To be healthy mothers. It's crucial to feel naturally beautiful. These other women are feeling naturally beautiful, and that's what's separating our women from them. Our women feel like they got to cover themselves in those other women. You know what I'm saying? That's a casket for your self-esteem and insecurities. Right? But let me get out of here. Shout out to everybody who could join me. I'll see y'all on the next.